My name is Ryan O'Connell, and in this quick training video we're going to learn how to deploy a SQL database using the PaaS solution, or the platform as a service solution, using the portal. But before we do that, let's just go through a quick overview of what is an SQL database. An SQL database is an intelligent, scalable, relational database service built for the cloud. Optimizes performance and durability with automated AI-powered features that are always up to date. Migrating your SQL Server applications to SQL database can be done with no code changes. The service is fully managed, intelligent SQL service. The nice thing about SQL, it's always up to date, so you always have the latest patches and the latest version if you are deploying it, using it as a platform as a service, and Microsoft will take care of all of that hardware maintenance for you. In order to use the platform as a service SQL database, you need to have an active Azure subscription. If you do not have one, go and create one. It's free. Right, our databases. We have the traditional databases where you had to have hardware from the ground up, or a VM. You'd have a rack and operating system. You would then need to install the firewall, set up SQL, and then deploy it to the client. And that could take quite a long time. In some cases, weeks, because you'd have to order the server, put the server, install Windows, install SQL, set up the firewall, patch it, cable it. So quite a lot of work involved. Then Microsoft have the Azure Marketplace, where you can use a pre-built image to quickly launch. And this is an image that has everything ready that you can go ahead and deploy it. And then of course we have the Azure database, and we will use the full PaaS database. And as you can see, the solution's a lot quicker. It has the SQL database for us, and it has the firewall, and we can actually deploy it straight away. Where the platform, where the marketplace is, you'd have a server with SQL on it and a firewall, and then you could set it up and send it to your client. Obviously, because it's pre-built and it's ready to go, it's a lot quicker. But in our scenario with Azure, using the platform as a service database, basically we can cut the time down to even shorter and deploy a database in minutes. And that's what we're going to do in this lab. So our lab layout is we're going to use the database for Azure SQL, but we're going to use the full platform as a service. And that's going to incorporate the SQL and the firewall for us automatically. So phase 1, it will install SQL. Phase 2, it'll do the firewall. And phase 3, it'll be ready to use immediately. So what we're going to do is we will do a live demo so that you can see how this is done, and you can apply this to your environment. I do encourage you to go and look at the Microsoft link shown in this slide. It has a lot of cool and really good information about SQL versus infrastructure as a service versus platform as a service, and it kind of gives you that broader overview so you can make the right decision for the right database for the right environment, depending on what you want to install and how you want to go about accessing your resources. So that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the lab and see how this is done. Hi, as you can see, I've gone ahead and logged into the portal. So the next thing we want to do is create a resource group, because that's where we want to put our managed database or our platform as a service database inside that resource group. So navigate to resource groups, click create. I'm going to go ahead and paste the name in because I have a name for my resource group already. I'm going to click review and click create. And this is going to go away and create that resource group for us. And of course you can tell it's been created because you can see this little notification icon at the top here. I'm going to go ahead and dismiss all of that because we don't need that. Now we've created our resource group, we want to create our platform as a service database. So in the search, type in Azure, and we're looking for Azure SQL. So select Azure SQL. Let's create a Azure SQL resource. And of course, as you can see, we've got SQL databases, managed instances, and of course SQL virtual machines. In our lab, we just want to create a single database instance. Obviously, you could create an elastic pool, a database server. It's all up to you. But again, this lab is just designed to get you up and running with deploying your first platform as a service SQL database. So click create, and of course we're going to go down and select our resource group, which was SQL PaaS DB. I've got a name for my SQL server. I'm just going to call it SQL PaaS server. I'm going to go ahead and click create new, and I'm going to enter a server name. So I might call this the server name SQL PaaS 02. I'm going to go ahead and type in a username and password. So I'll call this SQL admin. Then I would go ahead and type in my password. And I'll go ahead and type in my password again. And make sure that it's all got these green ticks in. We're going to leave it in the East US, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now this is going to go ahead and add my database server name there. So we want to go down here and say configure database underneath compute and storage. Click the config database, and we're looking for basic standard premium. We're not looking for any of these for now. So click basic standard premium, and of course we want to use the basic out of these three options because it's just a lab. So I'm going to select basic, and of course you can modify your DTUs by moving this up or down. It's up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and click apply, and I'm going to scroll down and click review and create. We're going to leave the backup storage redundancy over here as default for now. So again, go and click review and create. This is going to go away, and it's just going to tell us more about our server and our deployment. And I'm going to go ahead and click create. And this is going to go away and deploy that database instance for us. So we'll just wait while this deploys. It can take anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes, but it shouldn't take that long. It's pretty quick. So we'll just wait while that runs quickly. And as you can see, our database has completed. We can see from the notification here that it's completed. I'm going to go ahead and dismiss that and go to the resource. And there we go. That's our managed instance of our SQL database. And as you can see, it's all running. We've got all the different options here to work with that database. If we want to connect to that database, let's go to Set Server Firewall. And then we want to come down to set the server firewall. We want to add our client IP. And of course, as you can see here, we can say allow Azure services and resources to access the server. We can deploy to the proxy. We can redirect. So if we go ahead and add our client IP, we'll be able to connect using tools like Visual Studio Management Server or SQL Management Server to actually log in and manage our database. So what you would do is you would click add client IP. That would add your client IP address to the server rules. And of course you could go ahead and click save, and that would go ahead and update that server rule for you, so that if you had the SQL Management Studio installed on your server, you would be able to go ahead and connect to that resource with no problems at all using your IP address. So again, this is a virtual machine's IP, so I'm going to be deleting this so you won't be able to use this to connect. So again, we're going to go ahead and navigate back to our SQL database, and as you can see, we can go ahead and do all of our other bits and pieces from here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to open up SQL Management Studio. I'm going to drag that over there so that you can see I've got it installed on my machine, and I'm just going to go ahead and log in to SQL Management Studio using that password we created, and click connect. And as you can see, we are now connecting to our Azure SQL that we've created. And as you can see, there's the SQL admin we created, there's our database, and we can kind of go through now and do a whole lot of work. Our database guys could go through and create tables, resources, and any other thing that they may need to create using SQL Management Studio. Of course, you could also use other SQL tools to connect and manage your database. Again, this lab is more about learning how to deploy a PaaS database for SQL and just getting you a bit familiar working with SQL so that you understand how easy it is to deploy a PaaS SQL solution and how easy it is to connect. And again, you need to go ahead to the Microsoft website and download the SQL Data Server Management Studio. And it's a free tool, and this will allow you to work with your database and get to grips using various tools that Microsoft have. So I hope you've learned a lot in this training video. A lot of you may know how to do this already. A lot of you may not. So I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel. And again, thank you for taking the time to watch the video. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And again, thank you for your time and have a great day.